everyone, this is Speaker Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to take a look back at certainly one of the most darkest and compelling dramas from the 1980s, and that is At Close Range. Released back in April the 18th, 1986, it stars Sean Penn, Christopher Walken, Mary Stuart Masterson and Crispin, and it was directed by James Foley. The film is based on the actual live events of the infamous Johnston Gang, whose criminal activity was very notorious within Pennsylvania during the 1960s and 1970s. The criminal organisation was headed by Bruce Alfred Johnston Sr. The movie first follows the path of Bruce's son, Bruce Jr., as we see him entering the town, partying in the streets with his friends, and who also meets young teenage girl Terry. We see Bruce living first in poverty, with his mother, his grandmother, and also his mother's boyfriend. Bruce has a fight with his boyfriend and is thrown out of the house. He later reconnects with his father, Bruce Sr., and goes to stay with him within Pennsylvania. Bruce Jr. looks at his father's lifestyle of flash cars, respected status, and money, and he sees that his father is also the head of a criminal gang whose activities include theft, trafficking, drugs, and alcohol. He's encouraged by his father's philosophy of money and ambition, and shows desires to eventually join the gang, but his father deems him not ready at the time. Now, in a relationship with Terry, Bruce Jr. forms a small gang himself with his friends, and they carry out small-time jobs. He finally goes on patrol with his dad's gang, only to be shocked as they murder one of the members who they find out has been collaborating with the police. This alerts Bruce Jr. to the true dark nature of his father, and he looks to eventually leave with Terry to another life. But as they find themselves strapped for cash, Bruce carries out a tractor robbery and is eventually arrested. He soon faces a fight for his life as his father looks to eliminate all ties to him and his criminal gang. Now, when looking back at Close Range, it is a very dark, compelling and at times unsettling drama, especially knowing that the story was based on actual true events. When you look at the tone and the spirit of the movie, it really is representative of the much more darkest second half of 80s movies within a decade, departing away from the heroic adventure and escapism and shifting much more into the bleak and grounded and violent stories and deconstructive personalities. And this movie itself is a very small scale story, an intimate character piece that moves at a leisurely pace, almost too leisurely at times, and a film that very much takes its time. We spend the first hour of the film with the younger characters as we see Bruce Jr. partying and settling down. We see multiple scenes of small homes really congested as multiple families are all cooped up together in small living rooms or kitchens, again giving a real sense of authenticity and also how poor life was back in those times. The film also does show the younger characters living their lives in a much more happier state. We get a great sequence when they're out there within the forest and the rivers, all partying together, living life, very energetic it seems. Very much an encapsulation of the freedom of youth before the harsh realities of adult life hit home. But when we see the introduction of the father and his overall position, the film has a steady, unrelenting tension as you truly feel the father's presence. This is a character who at face value is very charismatic, relaxed and committed to family traditions and also respect within the community. But we eventually learn his true personality, and it creates such an edgy tension as you're not sure as to when exactly this man will lash out. You can sense the burning undercurrent of anger that he feels any sense of disapproval or disloyalty. This is very much a dark commentary of the sins of the father. We have multiple scenes where we see Bruce Sr. propping up his sons 1 minute and then berating them the next. And whilst he never physically abuses his sons, it's the small little comments and mannerisms and gestures that really manipulate these young children who have ultimate admiration and adulation towards their father. And it's yet another sign of how child abuse and manipulation can come in all sorts of different ways. But when we get to the inevitable acts of violence, it's very shocking and unnerving, not particularly because it's graphic or gratuitous, but because you can't believe what is happening in front of you. And it's also the unwavering callous nature of the characters, particularly the father. The violence happens in short bursts, and it's not sensationalistic, but it's very sudden, which makes it even more impactful. Now, yes, in the lead role, Sean Penn is very strong as Bruce Jr., playing that very young, raw, personality, who typically is very aimless in life and is looking to further and make himself better. It's a very likeable character enough, but a character that's not too sympathetic. Again, this type of drama doesn't want to play on sentimentality. It wants to show these characters in their true bleak form. But even in this early role, you could see why Hollywood very much saw Sean Penn as one of the potential great leading actors of the decade. He has that very young James Dean type of personality within this role, and overall it's a very good performance. But we do have to be honest here, this movie is completely driven by the great Christopher Walken, who is very much the dark heart of the piece. In the role as Bruce Sr., his presence alone adds so much of the suspense and danger and jeopardy. There is simply no sympathising with this particular character, who is the embodiment of evil, and Walken transfers that sentiment so much through in the movie. One of the real underappreciated great actors, Walken was very much a specialist in playing the villain who is softly spoken, articulate and charismatic, and seemingly harmless one minute, but can all of a sudden turn into an evil psychopath the next. And Walken has done this so many times throughout his career, but this performance here might be the most devastating of his career. It is without question one of the great performances within his filmography, and it's every bit as good as his Oscar-winning role for The Deer Hunter, and he definitely deserved, at the very least, another Oscar nomination this time around. Now, when we look at this film, we do also have to mention Patrick Leonard's musical score, which does so well to add the overall atmosphere and tone and feeling. None more so than the main theme music used to begin the film and the opening credits, and is played consistently through. The lyrical version, which was written by Madonna, titled Live to Tell, such a great song, yet another example of what made the 80s movies so special in terms of their soundtrack singles. Now, for all of its merits, At Close Range sadly didn't perform well at the box office, only grossing around $2.3 million in the US from a $6.5 million budget. The movie did gain very strong critical reception, praising the performances of both Sean Penn and Christopher Walken, but in many ways the movie was too dark and perhaps too small scale, and not having a real prolific A-list movie star to bring it to mainstream audiences. And it's a film that's never really got the credit it deserves post its release. You don't really hear it mentioned when talking about either Sean Penn or Christopher Walken, but it's definitely one of the most underrated 80s dramas of the decade. A film that offers no real easy answers or comfort. It just shows how life was like at this particular time. Very much a cautionary tale, again, of the treatment of children at the expense of their parents. And it's a story that's well worth being told. So there's my overall thoughts and feelings when looking back at A Close Range from 1986. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any other further movies or television series or any other topics or issues for the pop entertainment and culture scene that you'd like to see me cover within the channel, then also let me know in the comments, and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on the subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.